Hi, this is Peter Gold from Pocket Captains, and I'm going to go off the rails a little bit. I'm not going to talk about, usually we talk about space games, strategy games, but related to that is one of my other, great pleasures in life is watching Doctor Who. I love Doctor Who. I've loved it since I was a boy. My first Doctor was John Pertwee. That's the third Doctor for people who just watched the new series. It goes back a ways. So tonight I just watched Arachnids in the UK. And the story was, the special effects were great. It scared the willies out of my daughter. That's fine. She snuggled into us, and it was a fun show that way. And I wanted to say something about the plot line, which was basically about a very uncaring boss who's trying to take over the world, and his uncaring corporation pumped a lot of pollutants under the ground into coal mines, and the pollution caused the local insects to grow to large proportions, so they had to deal with the insects and the really mean corporation. And I thought this was a really good story when John Pertwee did it in a story called The Green Death. This was almost a complete remake of a story that I really, really enjoyed, and the problem is it wasn't as good. The original story was very good. It was very funny, it was very bright, it was very informative, it had a lot of messages in it. And the villain was excellent. And as much as I like Chris Noth, and he's a good actor, he was doing a repeat of the boss from then, which was a computer trying to take over the world. And that boss was funny, singing Beethoven while he was trying to take over the world. So the writing, Mr. Noth, Mr. Chibnall, hasn't actually been that great. Now, we've made it all about the fact that there's a female doctor, Jodie Whittaker. Jodie Whittaker is fantastic. The casting is great. I love the people in the TARDIS. They're really fantastic. They're doing a good job. But you've kind of made some, I think, mistakes in that I think part of the point of this was to say that a woman can be the doctor. That doesn't have to be a man. It doesn't matter. And I think your opportunity to prove that it doesn't matter comes when you let her be the doctor. But you're not really doing that. I mean, when the Doctor fights the Daleks, the Cybermen, the Sontarans, the Ice Warriors, it goes on, and does it, and succeeds, you go, oh, that's the Doctor. You prove it's the Doctor. You prove a woman can be the Doctor by just letting the Doctor do their thing, and by their very presence and by their very action, they prove they're the Doctor. You don't write that in. You don't tell the story, oh, I'm the Doctor, and I'm going to write that as words. They gotta let us see it. When you see how those companions react to that, which is pretty much like how anyone would react, people go, oh, some of these things like race and color and gender, they don't really matter. They're scared, I'm scared, they're running, I'd run. Race isn't an issue when you put them in the situations and you realize that race doesn't really matter. Gender doesn't really matter. None of these things really matter. When they're facing these situations, they face them as the Doctor and as the companions, and it's being in the situations that proves being a woman doesn't matter. But you've gone to more touchy-feely and very politically correct. It's very mothery, and I'm teaching you, and it's saying that this is all a woman can do, and that she's not really good enough to be the Doctor. You don't feel like you're confident that she's in those roles. She could do those things, which is wrong. I think she'd do a fine job, but you got to write stories that let her prove that it doesn't matter. Saying it doesn't matter isn't the same as action. It should just be present. Which brings us to this overwhelming flood of PC. Now I work in a city. Multiple color, races, genders, creeds, it doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. But if someone were to, let's say it's black lesbian, let's go one extreme, and someone were to put trumpets every time they walked in and banners were unfurled and it became this huge parade, I'd look up from my work and I'd wonder what was going on, and I'd look around. It takes me out of my day. It takes me out of my moment. And it's kind of what you're doing with your writing. You're really putting in our faces, big time. And it's so contrived. You're stretching and you're working so hard to make it such a big thing. A white man is married to a black woman, and there's continual, references of gay, and he has coordination disorder, and it's right there, and they keep putting it in there so strong. It takes me out of the story. It doesn't actually work in the story. It doesn't even make sense. It should be, he's running and he stumbles and the monster's coming. It's there. It's just there. It's real. They shouldn't have to keep, putting it there in my face all the time. You're working too hard at it. And it's taking me out of the story, and the story wasn't that strong to begin with. And it's making for a very disappointing year. I'm actually enjoying the cast. I'm enjoying the people you've chosen. I think you've done a wonderful job that way. But I need you to drop some of the attempts to write PC. Presence is all you needed. The show in the past has been guilty of not being representative. And it needed to clean up its act. No doubt about it, I agree completely. Their presence, doing what they do, is what was needed. But you're browbeating the audience, and we didn't do anything wrong. Why are you telling us off? I feel like I'm being told off. I'm feeling like after Rosa Parks, it's a good story, but I end up feeling really, really guilty. I don't know why, but I'm feeling guilty and I'm not enjoying my show anymore. I'm feeling like I'm a bad person. That's not what I'm tuning in for. My wife feels the same. It's like, why do I feel like I'm a bad person now? Is this what I'm tuning in for? It's not fun now. I'm trying to escape my reality. I don't want to be having this stuff thrown at me like I'm doing something wrong today because of something that happened back then. I agree. It shouldn't matter where she sits in the bus. I never said it shouldn't. Why am I being lectured? I think I'm feeling lectured and told when all I think I really wanted to see was the same story but with a little more representation in it. I was all for that and I was excited about it. And I think she's brilliant, and you gotta let her be brilliant, but you gotta at some point let her say, there's some Daleks, let's go fight the Daleks. There's some Cybermen, that's what I'm in for. And when she does it, you don't have to say, or you don't have to stop explaining all the time, it doesn't matter what her gender is. We're gonna see it for ourselves, and we're gonna say, yeah, it really doesn't matter, she's really good. She outthought them. It doesn't matter what your gender is, she can outthink the Daleks. And they have this phenomenal evil plot line, and nobody could possibly get out of it. It was so clever, and she just does something neat, and suddenly, oh, okay, they made them all look like monkeys. So here's my advice to you. You're a new writer, and there's some things you should know. She is a Time Lord from the planet Gallifrey, and she stole a TARDIS that's stuck in a certain shape, and it looks like a police box. Remember this, it's a tall blue box. It's called the police box. And you've accidentally put her on a soapbox. Please put her back in the police box with some really good stories that support the story that we like. The story is the heart of this thing. If you don't put Jodie Whittaker into those stories that we love, then you're saying you don't actually think she's cutting it as the Doctor because you're afraid to write the stories for the Doctor. You're writing for a woman. You are writing for an ethnic group. You're writing for a disability group. That's a kind of racism and gender stereotype too. Let her be the Doctor. Don't write for those. Write for these types. And by the way, bashing men, which is what's been going on the last few seasons, is also gender stereotype. Pointing at there's so much testosterone in the room, or your ego is so strong as a man, how could you stand it? Thank God I'm a woman now. That's also in your face. And if it's not right one way to make fun of women, it's also not right to make fun of men. So guys, you want to impress me with your PC? Take the issues out of the story. Take the fact that she's a woman out of the story. Take the fact that this person's red, green, blue, purple, orange. I don't actually care. It's all right to bring that perspective. I like that. I like learning about new cultures and new language and backgrounds and perspectives. And you should do that. That's who they are. But don't make the whole story about that. Make it about the Doctor doing Doctor things, fighting the Master or the Time Lords, or there's lots of kinds of material out there, guys. It's been on for over 50 years. Pick something and let her be the Doctor. I'm begging you now. Please bring my Doctor Who back. And I think you're going to find that the fans are there for you. Anyway, that's my nickel's worth. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people are going to say, hey, you know what, mind your own business. That's okay. Everybody's got an opinion, and so do I. And that's mine for today. So thank you very much for listening. And for being patient with me, for not doing a typical Pocket Captain's storyline. But as a science fiction guy who likes space and strategy games, you should know, science fiction fan, and Doctor Who's one of mine. I'm outed. I'm a Doctor Who fan. I've told the world. Thank you very much for listening, and good night.